Hey everyone, I'm Ashleigh Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. Thank you for being here. Man, oh man, did I just see some pictures I did not expect to see. I sort of knew they existed, but boom, here they are. And I'm going to be honest with you, in about 2 weeks, it will be exactly 3 years since 4 kids were murdered in Idaho in their beds in an off-campus house at 1122 King Road. I'm recording this on October 31st, 2025. And they finally released the pictures of the thing that led to Kohberger's arrest, conviction, and life imprisonment. And that is the knife sheath. Finally, they have shown us what the knife sheath looks like, what it was he left behind at the murder scene. And I'm just going to, if you're a little bit, squeamish, or if you've got, issues, trigger warning, I'm going to show you the actual knife replica. I have the K-bar knife. This is the size of it, okay? I'm just putting it next to my face. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening on the podcast, check out YouTube so you can do the comparison here. I'm going to take the knife out because, the snap here is important, right? Like, that is what this moron did. He put his DNA in that little snap, right? When he unsheathed the knife. Okay? Used it. Clearly kept it close by, but dropped this. So now I'm holding the sheath next to my head as well so that you can get an idea of how big it is and how stupid it was to leave something this big behind. This is not a little accident. Oops, I dropped a cigarette butt. This is massive. It's a foot long, right? It's 2 inches wide. It's a foot long. And it's not small. You can't bend it into your pocket. It only bends right at the sheath part, but at the backing and the snap part, it doesn't bend. Like the backing it's hard, right? So it's big. He left this behind and didn't notice. Maybe it was dark. I have to give him that. But you walk out with an open, naked blade. Okay, so we know that he murdered the 2 girls upstairs, Maddie and Kaylee, first. And in his frenzy, left that behind. And then murdered Ethan and Xana downstairs. So he's got this open with no sheath on it. I get it. It's covered in blood. You probably don't want to put it back in your sheath right away. But you don't remember that you took it out of the sheath, right? And then you just dropped something that big behind? Listen, I know a lot of you out there, if you've already seen this, I've heard a few of you comment the same thing. How could you have possibly been so dumb? But he was. And thank God for us. We're all the better for it because it was this little snap. It was this little spot where his fingers did the talking. His DNA on that snap led us to him. I'm going to show you the pictures of the actual knife sheath that he left behind, and there is something that is going to surprise the F out of you. I'm not kidding. When I saw it, I thought, well, that's not it. That can't possibly be it. You know where I'm going with this, right? So stick around. I'm going to show you the pictures, and I'm dying to hear how you feel about it and what your first comments are, or if they match my first comments when I saw it. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm really glad you found us. We have a great little community. Atlas, my little puppy dog, actually he's a 68-pound golden doodle, is always here in the studio with me, and we've got the Atlas cam so we can kind of see what position he's sleeping in, because this is really what he does at 15. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid. Hit the subscribe button and join our Drop Dead Serious community. We've got lots of cool stuff over here. You're going to see merch, and there's a club you can join as well. So we love having everybody here, and we've really enjoyed our little gang. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks on this video. It really does help. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, don't forget to follow so that you don't miss an update. And please leave me a review. Tell me what you think about the podcast or what you want to hear more of. Also, I cannot wait to hear your comment on this episode and on the knife sheath itself. Once you see it, again, you just have to scoot over to YouTube, and then you'll see the picture that they've dropped of the actual knife sheath that Bryan Kohberger left behind at the murder scene. So when you do follow me and you leave a review, it really helps to get more of these stories out there to more people. So it means a lot to us. Thank you. Folks, if you have ever come within a whisker of some awful event, terrible thing, only to miss it entirely, but then hear about it later on, then I think you're going to be able to relate to the DoorDash driver in Moscow, Idaho, I'm about to tell you about. She is known only by her initials, MM, but she was the one who delivered Xana Kernodle an order of Jack in the Box just minutes before all hell broke loose at 1122 King Road. You'll probably know by now, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, November 13th, 2022. The driver dropped off the food, and for all we know, Bryan Kohberger could have been like watching her, right? His attack on the house was literally that imminent. She's lucky that she didn't become his fifth victim after Xana, her boyfriend Ethan Chapin, and her roommates Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves were slaughtered by Bryan Kohberger. You may remember the body cam footage of this driver, like telling the police she did, in fact, see the killer that night. This was in a separate incident where she was speaking to police about a separate crime and a separate traffic problem. But this was different, this interview I'm about to show you. And don't forget, she's one of only 2 people alive tonight who can actually say that. But now we have never before seen video of her police interrogation 10 days after the quadruple murder. Here she is describing being initially unable to find 1122 King Road.
I actually initially pulled and parked up right there, right in front, but I didn't see the number, so I didn't know. And my map kept telling me to go up and around and in there. I kind of walked around with my flashlight, some on my phone, trying to figure out where it was. I remember when I pulled up, I saw the girl in the window that he told you about. Up at that top window on the left. I would swear that she was swinging on a hammock or something, but she could have just been on the top of the bed or something. It seemed odd because she was watching me. And usually when you do an order and somebody sees you, if that's where it's from, they see you, they come running down to the door, whether it's a no contact order or not. And she jumped right down as soon as she saw me and saw that I saw her. I noticed several times as I was walking around and trying to find the place, she would pop back up in the window and I would see her again.
Okay. Give me 1 second. This is a slow.
Yeah. First or second choice.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Showing this board.
Thank you.
Those are pretty good. I've had them. They're pretty good.
I haven't. So I thought it was weird that she kept jumping in and out of the window. Long brown hair, younger girl.
Could that have been Xana upstairs visiting Maddie and Kaylee on the 3rd floor while watching for her food delivery? Because if you remember that house before it was torn down, the top window on the left, that's the 3rd floor bathroom, right? That's Kaylee and Maddie's bathroom, and that window faced out front. So if it's the top left, whoever was in that window was in the bathroom. And Kaylee and Maddie had blonde hair, as did the 2 surviving roommates. Xana's the only one with brown hair. So maybe that was her in the bathroom upstairs on the 3rd floor before this horrible thing was about to happen. In any case, the driver dropped off Xana's food and was headed to her next stop when she crossed paths with evil itself. Take a listen to what she said.
But I do remember that when I was walking with my flashlight on that road, there's nobody out there and it's dark. And I'm a girl and I've got a flashlight. A car came driving by. It was a sedan. It was tan. And the gentleman that was driving, I remember it because it was odd that he did not look at me. You see a girl out there walking around with a flashlight. You look, you see what's going on. And if they're nothing, just completely zoned and out of it, almost. And that's why I thought it was odd, but he just drove by me. There was no stopping or anything. And so I drove back down again, because I walked back up to get my car, and I drove back down, and I ended up pulling up into the drive thinking maybe I could go around that way. And I actually parked my car right kitty corner here because I saw the light. Finally, I could tell that the light was hiding the numbers on the house. And that's when I realized that was the correct house, and my map wasn't off. And that would be when I jumped out, and I put the bag right there by the door and took the picture. And then I left because it was a no-contact delivery.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yes, which means that I just take a picture, I send it, and I go. I don't wait for anybody, I don't look for anybody.
So,
which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
So when you're back up here, I'm just kind of walking, make sure I fully understand.
Yes.
So you're walking back to your car here, and this is when you see the car that you mentioned?
When I saw the car after I had already parked up here and I was
Okay.
walking down.
Walking down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was driving down. We were right around here. And he went.
So you come around, so then you go and drop everything off. Did you see the car again after that? Did you?
It did not.
Did not?
It left.
Okay.
It's just, the only reason, like I said, I remembered it was because it was odd that he didn't look at me or wonder what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
And he was very just,
Looking straight ahead.
Yeah, and there was nothing. And so that seemed odd to me.
Okay.
Especially to be a girl in the dark. There's not a lot of light on that road
No,
at
it's
all.
dark. Yeah.
And to be walking around with a flashlight and looking around and poking around somebody's yard,
Yeah.
you would think most people stop and they're like, "Are you okay? Is
Right.
everything all right?"
Especially early morning.
Exactly. It just seemed odd to me.
So when you, and I've been up there quite a bit, but the road's fairly narrow.
Yes.
Were you pretty close to this car? Were
Yes,
you?
I mean, it drove right by me.
How close do you think it was?
Not very far. I mean, I'm walking on the road. I didn't walk in the grass or anything.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of space, as you said. And
Yeah.
then there's cars parked
Right.
around there too.
Right.
So, I mean, he was right there.
Okay. Did you notice anything about the car? Any sound or anything out of the ordinary?
No, and I've been racking my brain too, because
No,
it seemed so odd for him to be there. He didn't seem out of place. He actually seemed very in place. Just his demeanor and everything, he just did not look at all, not even to turn his head.
When you say you look like he in place, what do you mean by that?
He didn't look disheveled or like at 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get ready for work and you're half asleep or something like that, or running or late, or he seemed like very put together and just, yeah.
As I said at the outset, the timing of what happened that night is astounding. If this driver had been running just a little bit late or stayed maybe just a little longer at the house or maybe got lost, right? Or if Kohberger had set out from Pullman just a few minutes earlier, she could have been a murder victim too. Or quite conceivably, she could have interrupted a massacre in progress. So I told you at the top that it's taken, almost 3 years. We're 2 weeks shy of 3 years since the crime for police to have released what the knife sheath looked like, right? I showed you mine and the size of it. This is it right next to my head, so I'm not holding it way out in front. This is the relative size. It's huge. It's huge, and it was left on Maddie Mogan's right side. So if you were to walk into her bedroom and turn to the left, there's the bed facing you. You'd be at their feet. And on the right side of the bed, which would be Maddie's left side, would be where he left this knife sheath. So the photos that they've released, I want you to take a look. And if you're, again, listening on the podcast, you got to go to YouTube. Go to Drop Dead Serious on YouTube and see these pictures because you won't believe it. What's the first thing you notice? They look squeaky clean. I mean, this sheath in the picture looks squeaky clean. Every picture of the knife sheath looks squeaky clean. How on earth did this bloodbath happen on the 3rd floor where he slaughtered Kaylee and Matt and beat Kaylee so badly? But the knife sheath is sitting on the bed next to Maddie, and it is not smeared. It is not in a pool of blood. To the naked eye, it looks like there's nothing on it at all. To the naked eye. But then you see the other pictures that the Moscow police have finally released, and you can see what they call trace matter detected. So they've put the green box around tiny spatters. Okay, great. Tiny spatters makes perfect sense. Why aren't there massive spatters? This is what I can't understand. How is it that there's just this trace matter detected? I would have expected this thing to be soaked, but it wasn't. Trace matter is detected. My assumption is this is the trace matter of the girls. There was blood on the walls. There was blood all over the covers, a pool of blood in the middle of the covers. And so obviously this blood went a long way, and some of it sprayed onto this sheath. Maybe it was tucked in the back of his pants when all this awful stuff was coming. And maybe it was shielded from all the hell that was happening in front of Kohberger. And maybe when he turned to leave, maybe that's when it fell. Maybe he did something with the dead bodies and leaned over and maybe it fell. I don't know. It is a mystery, but thank God we have it, because again, this little button, the little button, who'd have thunk? A snap, that's what led to him being caught. But there you go. Finally, we see the pictures. I should probably tell you that the K-bar knife and sheath that I have, they're exactly the same, right? But in the picture, and I'm going to be careful here putting the knife back in, but in the picture, the sheath seems lighter. It seems sort of more tan. Mine looks more kind of mahogany. Could be the lighting. It could be that they come in different, hues. They don't come in different colors that I know of, but this is the USMC K-bar official sheath and knife. So it does look a little, maybe my lighting's off a little bit, but this is it. And you can now see full on how big this bloody thing is. And also, you won't have to just rely on what the photo is, because there's not a lot of relativity. They do have a ruler that shows you the length of it, and you can see next to the ruler how big it is. But when you see it in person, you just think, how could that have happened? It's crazy. It's crazy. But again, thank Jesus it did. Anyway, I'm glad that you were here for this. It was just sort of very late breaking, late on a Friday evening, and I assume that, I always assume the worst. I assume that they drop these things so that there's not much ado made about them on Friday nights. But maybe it's just rando. Maybe it just, things are dropping all the time as they complete the file and they redact everything and they try to, follow through on their promise of transparency. And here we go. We got the knife sheath, or at least a photo of it. One thing that worries me, there are so many people out there, don't ask, they're pro-burgers, right? They're pro-Bryan Kohberger. And I do wonder if they see these pictures and say, see, told you so. There's no blood on that knife sheath, or at least those trace pieces of matter detected couldn't possibly have been part of a bloodbath. May give them fodder for their craziness. Newsflash, he admitted it. He agreed to be in a box for the rest of his life. If he didn't do it, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have done that. In any case, that is the one thing that did sort of cross my mind about this very clean-looking sheath. I expected it to be soaked in blood, and that's how he missed it. I assumed that it was the same color as the bloodbath, and he didn't see it, but it wasn't. It would have stood out like a sore thumb. But again, maybe it was dark. And thank God he's an idiot. Anyway, my riffings, my musings. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. So does Atlas, and who didn't move much during this, but he loves our naps together. If you remember one thing, I always say this: the truth isn't just serious; it's drop dead serious.